What is going on, people? First and foremost, just want to wish you guys a happy Easter. And like Jesus Christ on the day himself, our YouTube channel rises from the ashes to bring you a new series hosted by our homies Elevated Godliness and Widow. Tell the audience what's happening, bros.
Yo, I'm Elevated, and I am a team builder for National Dex, and yeah, I'm just here to lead this National Dex building compilation, and we'll be doing this for a lot more than would be worth, but might as well, right? So I'd like to introduce my good friend. He helps me team build with Kofi and Weasel. So I'd like to introduce my good friend Widow.
You guys are too professional on this.
Widow new to
I'm
this,
with.
bro. Widow, tell him what's up.
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm just here.
Alright, he's not really
Yeah.
into the intros, but don't worry. So yeah, as I mentioned, a whole lot of agents is starting a new team building series where Elevated and his homies are going to teach you noobs a thing or two about team building. The guys have been gracious enough to grant y'all a sneak preview at some teams that are going up on the NatDex OU Team Bazaar next week, so be sure to check those out. I'll link the Smogon thread and post in the description. But I'm not going to take up too much time with this intro. Let's let the masterminds break it down for you. So first, Elevated is going to walk you through some info about Synergy and Core. So Elevated, take it away.
All right, hello guys. I'm Elevated, and yeah, let's get it started. So basically, what team building is, I have the Smogon page loaded up for you guys. Is basically the interaction of two Pokemon on a team to be able to two or more Pokemon on a team to be able to make a team. So basically, there is multiple ways to have synergy. There's synergy between offensive typing, like how they deal with each other's checks or counters, and there's defensive typing, how they both respond to each other's checks and counters. So, like for example, we have in National Dex on we have a National Dex Tapu Fini and Landorus. Tapu Fini and Landorus are really good cores. So like say Landorus is weak to water, ice. You have Tapu Fini which resists that. And then you have Tapu Fini who's weak to electric, and you have Landorus who has an immunity to electric typing. So basically, these are supposed to intertwine. So like, if you have a defensive backbone, you have you have their resistances, you have those immunities, you have that backbone you want, you have that pivoting, you have all that good stuff. And so basically, now cores are basically supposed to be self-sufficient. They're supposed to be the center of the team. So say you have a Killdeer, right? Killdeer is checked by Blissey, is checked by Gloak and Glar. Basically, say you're having it out. You wanna be able to get some momentum inside. So you have flip turn. You flip turn on the say what do you want to say? Say you want to flip on the Chansey, right? And you flip down on the Chansey, you go into eval. Now you're able to create more offensive pressure on the opposing team. Granted, these things do not have necessarily the best synergy, but these things do beat each other's checks. So in this example, now you're able to create more momentum with your team, be able to pressure out more things, say force more swaps, make things take more entry hazards, things like that. So that's really a beneficial thing when it comes to team building. You want to have all of those. You want to have all these things that help your team gain momentum, traction. It's especially good when playing stalls. So you want to have a lot of these things that help build your team to be able to win the match. You're essentially not just wanting to play the player, you want to also play the team, but primarily play the player if that makes sense. So on to Widow, if you have anything you want to say about this.
With you on everything you just said.
All
But
right, thank you,
yeah,
Widow. Very insightful response to share for our audience. No problem. I'll tell you what though, for a man like me, like I don't really team build. Like Elevated was just telling me, like he wakes up and the first thing he does is just thinks about team building. Whereas for me, I'll think
okay,
about like,
okay.
yeah. No, I mean like
Good.
for a guy like me, like I I love exploring building teams using mons that I don't commonly see. But how I go about it is I'll try to steal like a sample team or something and see how I can slot in the mon that I want to use on that team. that's always a good place to start. Obviously, doesn't always necessarily translate. But when you want to take it to the next level, you definitely got to keep in mind synergy and cores, and that's something that Elevated's been covering. And it's something that is not the easiest to pick up right off the bat. Like again, for me, like I do not team build. So even as someone that's recording this video, I'm trying to learn a thing or two about synergy and cores as well. And what better person to teach us about that than Elevated, who has these pretty much, as he was saying, like these bi-monthly team dumps on the NatDex OU Bazaar where he's building from scratch. You might see some common cores, but trust it when I say it's necessary. These cores are good for a reason, whether it's an offensive core or a defensive core. It's these cores that run the metagame. But yeah, sorry, back to you, Elevated.
Yeah, no, that's perfect example. That's what I'm trying to get across to the people. So, like, say you have a Mega Beedrill, right? And then say you have a Magnezone. These things may not have the best synergizing typing, but these cores are really good for a reason. It's like Rilazone. These things, like, say you bring in your Beedrill, you U-turn off the Corviknight, you go into Magnezone. Now you have that offensive pressure you need for your team. Now you have a better breaking power. That's synergy through checks and counters. And that's really a great thing when it comes to national decks, to be able to have that flexibility, to be able to have anything you want on a team and be able to do it effectively and be able to do it earnestly. So onto the first team, we have you have a non-mega team. You have Taunt Hydreigon. We have Ferrothorn. You have all these good mons. And as I said before, I really like this Landorus Tapu Fini defensive backbone. It really helps support the team. This team is definitely on the fatter side. Okay, basically, what I wanted to build around Hydreigon. If you guys go through my post on the National Text Bazaar recently, I've really been liking Hydreigon. I've been enjoying this mod. It has great defensive coverage. I mean, great defensive typing. That it has fire resist, it has ground immunity with levitate, it has all these things that make it very much viable in the national dex meta. For example, if you're trying to beat it with char Y, this is your check. Max HP, it will start living all these hits that your team normally wouldn't be able to take. So that if, say, you wanted to use a more offensive team, have more offensive pressure, you're not forced to use things like Toxapex, like Latias. You can have something like this that can create offensive pressure just using Nasty Plot. And you can create the argument, Calm Mind, have Bolt Beam coverage, all that good stuff. But it's nice to have some different things on your builder, if that makes sense. And this is not like bulky defense where you want all that momentum. So like as you can see, the low punny isn't U-turn. That you're able to have as much offensive capabilities as you can have, but eventually be able to break the opponent. And that's really what I like with Hydreigon. As you can see, this set is pretty damn unique. Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, Roost, Taunt. That is not the normal Hydreigon set. A lot of people can run Dragon Dance, and a lot of people can run
Dragon Dance?
EP.
Ain't no way you're
Dragon
Dance on
Hydreigon. No, I've seen some. Wait, what are you saying?
Fake Dragonite right there.
Bro, is that, yeah, exactly. That's literally Dragonite right there. Like, you're able to run so many unique things.
That's true. Like Hydreigon has like that shit has a really good physical move pool too, right? Like it gets U-turn, it gets superpower. I think I've seen like I've seen like DD Iron Tail. Like honestly never run that shit, but like at the same time, like it's kind of heat. Like Hydreigon has a sick move pool. Like hold up, bro. I think I need to open up a Smogon window real quick.
One of the best.
I just want to look at shit. I don't even know how to use Smogon. There we go. All right, Hydreigon. I don't even. Did Jenny give this spawn any good new moves or something? Like I'm just looking at.
If I'm being honest, if it did, I didn't check.
Facts, yeah. I mean, it was already solid last gen. Like I'm seeing like the common Spark set with U-turn on it. That shit gets like defog roost, as you can see. There's 3 attacks with like Life Orb. You can still make that leftovers as well. Like Hydreigon, sure, it has some pretty big weaknesses, but at the same time, it actually, while it has some bad weaknesses, it's not bad defensively. It has a good immunity with Levitate. It has 2 immunities, which is solid. And dragon typing is still not an awful defensive
once you're
typing.
able
Like
to
it
switch-
resists. Yeah, what's up?
able to switch into Heatran, you're really good.
Exactly, yeah. And Heatran like owns the meta basically. Alright, so like I'm looking at this shit's move pool. Yo, Z Belch, that's a common thing.
Z
Not
Belch, that's a
common,
great-
but you could snipe some fairies with Z Belch, you know, that shit is kind of fire. Yeah, Dragon Dance. This shit gets like dual wing beat, EQ, Earth Power, like okay, it commonly runs Earth Power, I guess. This shit even gets Head Smash, bro. Like the possibilities.
It has its options.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless, but yo, this shit even gets Scale Shot. Like that's gas. Use superpower.
I didn't even know
Like
that.
it. Yeah, like this shit is just fire. But yeah, like going back to the team, like the Nasty Plot Dark Pulse, like looking at the team itself, like yeah, it obviously like that set will get walled by something like a Feeny, but like your team has like Feeny answers. And overall, like I like the team. I know I mentioned that it didn't have a Z move, and you mentioned that you don't always run a Z move, and that's fair because like I was saying before, it's not always easy to place a Z move user on the team. If anything, sometimes it might even be detrimental. Like I've had cases where I made Kira my Z move user, and I made that shit like I don't know, with like Icium Z freeze dry, right? Like with 3 attacks, roots, and I had to remove the heavy duty boots. But like, I feel like I'd rather just make if my Kiram's not going to be holding boots or like leftovers. I don't really like leftovers. That's more of a stally set. It's not my style, but like I'd rather make that shit choice scarf or specs, right? But like to make Kiram a Z move user, you can kind of make it work. But like, I don't know, on this team, like the only other solid candidate I could see being a Z move user is Hydreigon, but I feel like it has its identity pretty solidified on this team. But it's a very interesting team build. I know it has one of the common cores in Feeny, Pharaoh, Lando. I think that's one of the common defensive cores, if I'm not mistaken, in NatDex. But one thing I wanted to ask, you know, because I don't be doing too much team building. If anything, if I need to add them on, you know, I'll be going to Smogon, you know, I'll be just stealing one of the sets from there and importing that. But I wanted to ask about the Kyurem spread, in that like, okay, so I see you're not max speed. That's kind of interesting. I don't know why, especially because you're 4 EVs off. But I wanted to ask what the SPDEF and HP investment are for. I know most subroutes Kyurem, at least the ones that I've run in the past, that'll do like, I think it's 56 EVs in HP. So when you sub, Seismic Toss won't break your sub. And then you just run max speed and then you dump the rest into special attack. I feel like this might have something to do with not breaking to like maybe an Iron Head or like a Moonblast from a non-invested Feeny. Like how does this spread work?
Okay, this is a very unique spread. Kofi came up to me with this very, very unique spread. Originally, it had Rock Slide over Earth Power, and that's a really unique spread because it's really thinking about Volcarona, what Volcarona can do to this team. As you can see, Volcarona can smash up this team. So that's another thing with this team. It has interchangeability. If you can be able to change up your sets to be able to adapt to the metagame, that is a really good team. That team is able to have adaptation. It's not limited to what metagame it is at that time. It's mainly just thinking about how does this team evolve as the meta evolves. That's really a good thing with the teams. And this can have Rock Slide over Earth Power. Rock Slide over Earth Power, you can be able to kill off all these Volcaronas. I know Volcarona is a horrible mon. It should be banned. I know it shouldn't have. It should be suspected right now, but that's not the main thing. That's not the main thing about it.
Speaking facts, bro. Fuck Volcarona, man. Shit.
We do not like that mon. We do not like that mon.
Oh god.
You have Ferrothorn, also interchangeable. This team, not gonna lie, if you want to be like, okay, Feeny is a problem, it's another interchangeable ability. You can be able to replace Body Press for something, say like Power Whip. That's the thing, evolving with the metagame. It has things that can be changed to suit that person, suit that metagame. That's how a team should be, and that's mainly what I look at my team. Z crystals. Z is a really beneficial thing when it comes to breaking. And you can like sometimes it can be beneficial, sometimes it cannot be beneficial. Having a Z allows for a lot of breaking. I remember this once. This is a really good set of Kartana. I have SD, Giga Impact, Sacred Sword, Leaf Blade. Just work through everything. Like normally, a check to Kartana would be Zapdos. If you get +2 Z Giga Impact on Zapdos, that thing is not living. It's dead. Okay, so that's a great thing with all these teams. They have all these things that can be built around. Like say you may not be able to break something with Kartana. Let's say you have a Choice Scarf Kartana. You want to be able to pair with things that will help it break through the opposing team. So say you have this team. You have a defensive backbone, right? A really good defensive backbone I remember in National Dex is Landorus. You have Heatran, and you have Ferrothorn. Put that all in the team. I'm pretty sure they call it the Double Tran Lander core. I don't remember the exact name, but it's a really good defensive typing core. It has all its checks and counters. So say Ferrothorn and Heatran are weak to fighting. You have Landorus, -1. A lot of these physical attacks that have to do with fighting, Landers can resist and lower by 1, so that now Lando has more longevity, able to get up rocks, or you want to be able to get up rocks since you probably want spikes on Ferrothorn, or maybe you don't even want to have rocks on Ferrothorn. I said Ferrothorn on Landorus. Landorus, maybe you don't even want to have rocks. You can have Defog, Earthquake, U-turn, Toxic, be able to fight other Landos, be able to remove your own hazards. And then you can probably have spikes on Ferrothorn and then have rocks on Heatran. The power to have interchangeable mons is really a great thing in National Dex, and that's really a good thing to have. Unlike Stinky OU, where you just have your Dragapult, your Lele, your Scizor, which probably drop to UU, your Volcanion. Here you have more of a diversity. You be able to have more things you can build around. And that's really the great thing about National Dex. Another thing about National Dex, you do not want to build a team without a Mega. That is a very, very influential thing in National Dex. National Dex, having a Mega is a great thing.
That's key. That's key. Yo, so.
Yeah, Widow.
I'm traumatized right now by how he just said Scizor.
Oh, it's fine, bro. These mon names are interchangeable. I've been calling Arceus since I was like 8 years old, bro. I don't give a fuck. As long as you know how to use the mon, I don't give a fuck. One thing I will say though about this team in particular is that, like, if you gave me these 6 mons on a team, I could come up with like a billion different sets and spreads for this shit. Like, I think that's one of the main issues. That's one of the main issues when it comes to team building is you might be fixated on one particular mon or one particular set first, but really I think most of the work comes from pairing each of the mons together. So like, say you just give me 6 blank sets, but you give me these 6 mons, I could build a ton of heat around these 6, right? It's a matter of what comes first. Is it the core? Is it the synergy? I guess it's the core, right? And then you work on the synergy. Yeah. You could still figure out synergy for mons that might not be commonly paired together, but it's the core that's super important. And here you have that common defensive core with the Feeny, Pharaoh, and the Lando. The offensive core, Hydreigon is an interesting add, but as Elevated was saying, Hydreigon is one of his favorite mons, and I agree. Hydreigon is super underrated, I feel, and I wish I saw it a bit more, but it's hard not being able to hit fairies, post Gen 6, but, Gen 6 and, I guess before fairies were introduced, come on, man, Hydreigon was a shit for real. And it's still super solid, but the offensive core with the Mega Lop and the Kyurem, that shit is so potent, bro. Like, you could just add any other bond to that and it's already super fire in the NatDex meta. But yeah, like with the comments about needing a Mega, for sure, bro. Like, one time I loaded on the ladder and there's this one dude that was just mauling at me. I was like, what are you mad about? And he's just like, oh, you NatDex people, all you use are Megas and Z moves. Like, all right, then why the fuck are you playing NatDex then, bro? Like, go play OU. Like, you don't want Megas. Because, like, I set up like 3 SDs on his glide score, and he was mad, right, with my Garchomp, and then I dropped Z. And he's just like, oh, you could never do that in OU. I'm like, okay, but we're not playing OU. We're playing NatDex. But speaking about Z moves and breaking some shit down, Elevated also got another team pace ready for us here. which he built. I guess Pink Across inspired this. If you guys don't know Pink Across, that's a Heat OU team builder. Pink Across regularly building with Storm Zone with our homie Mimikyu Stardust as well. We gotta get Mimikyu Stardust in for a video as well. Mimikyu just dropped a fire.
He dropped a hacks, right?
Para hacks team, yeah, and that shit is so fire, bro. With like the lead Roselli Berry, like Glare, Rocks, Drudagon, and like that team is super heat, bro. We need to start playing a little OU, but like at the same time, I miss my Z moves, right? I miss my Z moves, I miss my megas, and what better example than the team pace we got open here? Elevated, bro. Break this team down for us now.
All right, this team I usually do not use weather, but today,
Yeah, I feel
actually, I actually built this today, believe it or not. This morning, and I was mainly like I was watching competitive Pokemon as you usually do. It's like inspired me to like build something in the morning. So I really came across this. I was watching Blunder. I was watching this one video where they came across Finger Cross team. I was thinking, and I saw this team. I was like, this team is fire. It has a Gyarados. You don't really see Galarian Zapdos in National Dex. So I put this team. I put this in my builder. I made a
hold up, Elevated. That's cap, bro. What you mean?
No. Bro, I'm telling you.
Every HO team, bro. On every screen.
Okay. No. I refuse to believe that. That's Bisharp. Everyone uses Bisharp over Galarian Zapdos. That is a fact.
No way.
I will tell you this now.
No way. Yo, Galarian Zapdos. Yo, fighting and flying typing, bro. That shit is like, come on, bro. Like Hawlucha. That shit goes absolutely berserk. Like Zapdos does the same thing,
That's
but
the thing.
Zapdos gets defiant. But I will say, I can't say I've seen banded Galarian Zapdos on sand. I do see though that you do have a hazard stack team here, but nah, bro. Galarian Zapdos, that shit. Okay, you know what's weird? Actually, I gotta interrupt just to say this one thing. Like the other day, I don't know how right you might be. Now I'm starting to question my claim because I was talking to one of the guys in the server the other day, and they were just like, oh, I think it was NF Graves. Shout out NF Graves. And he was just like, yo, anyone have a good like Bisharp team for NatDex? And like I was just thinking like, man, how Bisharp has fallen, because of the power creep and like the nerf to like sucker punch and stuff. And I was just telling him like, yo, like Bisharp is like exclusively screens HO, just like it's really hard to like run it. And then our homie Mamu, shout out Mamu too. Mamu passed a Wish Killer team. I think Wish Killer was Gen 6, right? Like that shit was like, that was crazy back then.
Yeah.
And then I went to Smogon and I was just like, yo, Bisharp has to be UU right now, right? And surprisingly, that shit is still OU. Like even like earlier this year, I remember it dropped to UU, but it's still back in OU. And I'm just like, yo, people are still like rocking Bisharp like that. I know it's good, Bisharp is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Like I can't even cap. I love that mon. Maybe I'm just bad at using Bisharp. But Galarian Zapdos, that mon is the fucking truth too, bro. Like on any hazard stack team or any HO team. So it's interesting that you put it on this team. But my bad, bro. I digress. Bring us back to this team. But don't be disrespecting Galarian Zapdos like that. That should be breaking.
No, I'm not disrespecting it. But I'm not disrespecting. I love this mon.
I will say one move I end up running on this shit. It depends. You can either run Throat Chop or you can run Blaze Kick. I'm gassed because I run Blaze Kick because I'm trying to get those. I'm not. Sometimes I just like kicking the Pharaohs because close combat doesn't always kill if you're not choice banded. So I'll run Blaze Kick and I'll run it for Pharaoh and I'll run it for Aegislash. Because otherwise Zapdos gets walled by Aegislash, which kind of sucks. It's the same issue with Hawlucha as well. But it seems here you opted for double flying stab. But my bad, bro. Take it away. I'm not interrupting you no more.
No, bro. I love the passion behind having Bisharp and Galarian Zapdos. And these two are really good mons, and I decided to like focus around Galarian Zapdos. I have another team with Galarian Zapdos. I don't think I'm gonna post it though. I may need to fix it a bit. But Galarian Zapdos as a whole is a very strong breaker. I saw this was ranked very low on the viability rankings, but still, this is a great mon. As you can see, I have Stealth Rocks and I have Spikes on this team. The point of this is to be able to create a situation where Corviknight is forced to come in. Either that you have to deal with hazards, or you can just let your team just keep taking hazard check. So that's why I really like having Magnezone. And in Gen 8 National Dex, now you can run HP Fire, unlike in OU where you're forced to run like body press. And like Sizer can just U-turn, pivot out, all these things. So I rather have these things like is able to help the team break much more efficiently. And this is a really good example about breaking each other's checks, right? So you see Escadrille, Magnezone, both steel types, 3 steel types on one team. That's not really the best defensive typing. Like you have like how is most of the team 4 out of 6 weak to fighting? You need 2 fighting resist, right? So you have that in Glaring Zapdos and you have that in Slow Breath. That's the great thing when it comes to Escadrille and Magnezone. Magnezone, right? You have your checks to Escadrille, right? So you're checked by Corviknight, Skarmory. These things are very much of a very to say the least, it annoys a lot of these physical breaks. Right?
We not even getting checked by Tangrowth no more. We got that +2 Steel Z. Tangrowth getting dropped, bro. We're not worried about that. It's just the Corviknights and just the Skarms.
Yeah, so then like now you have Magnezone. Say that again, Widow?
I have a hard time with Kartana.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Oh shit.
That's the thing. This is an offensive team. Outplay the opponent. If you don't outplay the opponent, you're just bad at the game. Let me just say that now. All right. So like
that's true.
That's the thing.
That's facts. Not every team can check every single one of his threats. Like, you know, you can't always have a solid defensive core, and we probably should have covered this earlier. It depends on the identity of the team. This is a sand team, so it's obviously HO. I mean, you could have sand stall like Suave's fucking Stoutland sand stall. We don't run that shit, but this is a super offensive team. As you can obviously tell, there's hazard stack involved. You have, I know Elevated was saying like Zapdos is a fighting check as well. Yeah, it technically is. You don't want that shit to be taking too many CCs though, you know. But at the same time, you have Slowbro, right? Like this is Demon that is pivotal to this team. It acts as your pivot. It can soak up hits. Boots is really good. In case you can't get rid of hazards yourself, Rocky Helmet is a solid option. Like I look at this team and I'm just like, yo, Mega Blaziken would have packed this shit up like a week ago. But you have the
no, we banned that shit.
Know? Yeah, we banned that shit. Unfortunately, I voted unban, you know, because you know I outplayed the Mega Blazikens, bro. I don't need a defensive core. I just outplay it. But with this team, you could definitely outplay, and from another perspective as well. Obviously, if you play another very offensive team that you might be weak to, like with weather especially, like it's on you to not look at the game from a defensive perspective and think like, shit, you know, they have like a cart and I'm about to get packed up by the cart. Think about like, okay, well, I'm super offensive too. How do I counterplay it, or how do I enforce the pressure from my end so my opponent has to think defensively instead of thinking, oh yeah, my cart 6-0s him. Well, I mean, your cart could 6-0, but if we put your cart in a position where we're pressuring you offensively, then you're not thinking about your cart sweeping. I mean, you could if you have the right plays. Like, I don't know, maybe a common pairing is like cart with maybe like a Magnezone, so Magnezone can get rid of shit like Corviknight or like Skarm for it. But you have your own Magnezone too. Maybe you'll go and you'll trap their cart, you know? Like, there's a lot of not versatility, but there's a lot of potential for you in a scenario like this. Yeah, you'll be threatened by other offensive cores, but look at your team, man. You got a Steelium Z Excadrill, you got your Spec Zone, you got a Banded Zapdos, and I'm pretty sure Mega T-Tar has like 165 base attacks. So even if you're not max invested, like those Pursuits, Crunches, and Stone Edges, those are gonna hurt. So you gotta look at it from that perspective as well, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing I really like about this team. Like, say you're facing a Kartana. The only Kartana that you would be scared of is Swords Dancing Katana, because like you're not locked into a move, so you can't just simply outplay. Like, say the Kartana goes for a Leaf Blade, you hard soften Magnezone. Now that Kartana is locked, Leaf Blade isn't doing enough to be able to 2KO the Magnezone, right? So now you lose your breaker. So like what is the opponent supposed to do now? They lost their Katana, which is like the thing they needed to break this team. So then how are you supposed to win this game now? So, and another thing you can do to beat Kartana, now you can just get up spikes up, get up rocks. Make sure that sand is always up, and that's another great thing. Versus sand team, like this sand team versus other type of weather teams, like say you have reversing hail, rain, sun, all these things. Just one swapping of China Rentar on the right mon, it puts the offensive pressure in your court. See, as most of the mons on this team aren't really affected by sand. The only things that would be affected is Zapdos Galar and Slowbro, right? So
Yeah, Slowbro
that's the
healing
thing.
that off easy with Regenerator.
Yeah,
It's
Slowbro
really
is
just
heating.
the Zapdos.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Now you're getting more offensive pressure. Like that's another thing, a great thing. You have Volt Switch, you have Teleport, you have U-turn, you have all of these great options to be able to outplay your opponent, even if you're put in a situation where it's not the most favorable MU, right? Like say you want to blow a hole in the opposing team's defense, right? That's the thing. You have Sandrush now, so now you just get an SD up with Sand up, and granted that is easier said than done, but having that Sand up or having a rapid spin up and then having that SD, have the offensive potential to just shatter the opposing team. Now you have all these things, stealing Z. You're breaking a lot of things with this team. There's a lot of things you can do, and I think Excadrill as a whole is a very underrated mon in national decks. I feel like it should be used more with the lead Excadrill. I feel like we've been using Lando a little too much. Let's give Excadrill a little bit more love, right?
Absolutely facts. Especially because, yo, man, I will, once in a blue moon, load that fraudulent trick room strategy up just to get up like mold breaker rocks against like a Hatterene, for example. That shit is super clutch. But like Excadrill is super underrated in NatDex. It's solid in OU. Actually, did it?
I actually fell to UU.
I heard, yo.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's shameful.
Corviknight meta, and like it's gonna struggle with fucking Scarm and UU as well. There are too many steel birds out there, bro. Stop using Corviknight, everybody. Like that shit is just too
You got
OP.
Celesteela and Tangrowth in there too.
Oh man, yeah. Celesteela gonna be crazy too, bro. I fucking love Celesteela too. But yeah, like one thing, not necessarily about this team, but in general, like it's very easy for us. Obviously, this is a team building video. It's very easy for us to look at a team and immediately identify its weaknesses or things that it'll have a bad matchup against. But at the same time, like such a massive part about playing Mons is just knowing how to play fucking Mons. You know what I'm saying? Like just outplay.
I get what you're
it. You know, it's you. I can't tell you how many times where people have had the matchup and still ended up losing. You can't always lull yourself into a false sense of security. Y'all need to read Mr. Janvad's book, bro. And if you're in the server, then I have that shit posted in our announcements channel. But it's about what did Janvad say? It's like there are three things. It's knowledge, experience, and like there's some other shit. Okay, so you have knowledge. Say for example, looking at the team that you load against in team preview, right? You have the knowledge that okay, like my Kartana can cut through this team like butter. But at the same time, somebody that built this team having experience with using this team, they'll be like, all right, I see a Kartana on the other side. Here's what I got to do to outplay that. Once the Kartana's gone, I'm packing him up with my sand because this team is crazy. Like that's the thing. We can't just look at team building. Obviously, team building is a huge thing because the more exposure that you gain into learning the synergy between Mons and common offensive and defensive cores, the more, I guess, comfortable or experienced or even knowledgeable you are when it comes to laddering or playing in tournament games and things like that. So there's definitely a lot to consider when it comes to team building. But looking at this team here, like, not only is it crazy offensively, like in a lot of matchups and stuff, like I'm just thinking about the number of immunities that this team has. Like, okay, yes, they have a lot of overlapping weaknesses, but like, okay, one thing if you don't already know this is like Magnezone is a mon with like, I think it has the most resistances out of like all Pokemon. It has like 13 resistances or something. So like Magnezone is low-key kind of fire when it comes to defensive typing. You have T-Tar, with Pursuit, so you're just packing up everybody with that shit. Steel Z Excadrill, I have teams with Steel Z Excadrill, and like, bro, I can't even tell you how much you can hacks with this shit too, bro. I've like 1v1 Corviknights at like +2 or like +4 with like a couple of Ironhead flinches and then dropping Z, and your op just be like sitting there. Just like, what happened? Where's my Corviknight? What happened to my Skarmory? You know, they're just like at a loss. Where Excadrill can do that shit, bro. That's why Elevated is here telling you guys it's underrated. Because Excadrill is just that guy. There's a reason this shit was Ubers in Gen 5. Yeah, we didn't have... Skarmory still existed back then. I don't know. I wasn't playing Mons in Gen 5, but... That's what needed to be said, bro. Skarmory came out Gen 2 as a Gen 2 Mon. But either way, Excadrill was Ubers. Do not allow this Mon to suffer in UU. Whatever you SS, OU, RU, NU players are doing, bring that shit back to OU. Excadrill is a god. It is a god amongst steel types and ground types. But going back to the team, yeah, I suck ass at using weather. I can't lie. Like, the more experienced I become in bonds, the more I've learned to appreciate a type of balanced offense or a bulky offense. I have a hard time playing with stall or semi-stall because I feel like with RNG and stuff, like the more opportunity you give your op to get off offensive moves against you, the greater the potential for them to land critical hits or, I don't know, just like hacks you and shit like that. So like I like to have a more balanced offensive approach where I can still switch into regen mons like Slowbro or I don't run Toxapex, but like maybe like a Tangrowth or something. Torn, I know Torn is OU specific, but like I don't know, bulky offense is more of my thing. But like with weather, one thing I wanted to ask you, Elevated, about this team is that I noticed you only have the one sand setter, and that's T-Tar, and you're not running the smooth rock. So as much as it is a weather team, there is versatility of it to operate outside of strictly weather itself, because you're not playing the game where you're trying to set up weather for 8 turns, right? You could set it up for like 5 and you can get Excadrill to do his dirty work during that time. Or like, tell me about that. What was the idea? I know the team is called Pink Across NatDex adaptation, but like tell me what inspired this particular team build.
Yeah, I really just like the idea behind how you have that future sight plus Galarian Zapdos, that choice band, and even if it's not in sand, it still has its use as a balance team. So you still have that great typing in Excadrill. Say you're somewhat weak to Tapu Koko, which you're not. You have a whole Ferrothorn, but say you want to swap in on a Volt Switch and on a maybe a Thunderbolt. Now, since if you have sand up, not only are you faster than that Tapu Koko, not only are you negating a Volt Switch from Choice Spec set, now you're able to get a Swords Dance up with Sand Rush. Now you're faster and you have more offensive pressure. It's not necessarily you need all those turns. Granted, those turns would be nice, but that doesn't make it all that too necessary on a team. National Dex, you really do not want to have that situation where you don't have a Mega. That's the thing. This thing has 164 attack. You really want that offensive pressure there, but you also still want to have your normal balanced team. You want to be able to have that versatility in that team, even if that team is not too versatile. That's why I like semi-sand teams, like semi-sun teams, semi-rain teams. These teams are able to adapt to what they're facing. They're not just specifically locked on. Like if you wanted a really locked on team, you would have slapped on a Dracozolt on here. Me, personally, I hate Dracozolt with a passion. Arctozolt, hate that with a passion. Will never use it. Never make a team with it. Don't expect me to make one. But
for real, bro. Fuck those ones. I hate using those two, bro. Oh god, they make using weather excruciating, you know, because like they have some switch-ins and shit like that, but honestly, like they're pretty weak. Yeah, Dracozolt can sweep under the right circumstances. Bro, Arctozolt is so ass. Like I get the whole Bolt Beam hype. That shit sucks, bro. Let's be honest. Like that shit get walled by like a billion different things. But yeah, like I like the fact that you don't have a Dracozolt on this team. Cause like honestly, as I said, you know, I see the identity of it being a sand team, but at the same time, it can operate outside of just that niche within sand. But yeah, bro, this team is fire. I wanna show the guys, or not the guys. I wanna show everybody here your posts on the NatDex Team Bazaar and just get them familiar with the team dumps that you be going through every other month or so. So I'm gonna transition to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys don't already know, obviously a whole lot of agents, our identity is pretty much it kind of revolves around NatDex OU. I know we pretty much started with Gen 8, so we also do have a couple of previous gen OU players as well. SMOU was massive at the time, and we still think about that meta every day. We'd like to play that a little more. They're still running tours and shit. I don't know if anybody in the server is in the current SMOU tour right now, but NatDex is a lot of fun. Obviously, it's a little different from your traditional OU. Like it's kind of weird. I don't know how you can mega Galarian slow, bro, but either way, like that shit is kind of fire, and it makes for some cool team building opportunities. But if you guys don't know about the NatDex OU team Bazaar on Smogon, be sure to check that out. Elevated here, he has a bi-monthly team dump drop. This is his last one from February, and he has a lot of teams here. We probably could have covered those, but he's like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna bless the viewers. I'm gonna drop some teams that we haven't dropped in the Bazaar yet. So you guys got a sneak preview at those, but very comprehensive post by Elevated. He breaks down the team super well. And obviously his team dumps date back to I don't even know how long ago. He's been building for a while. So maybe some of those teams are outdated, but definitely be sure to check out his most recent post from the 25th of February of this year. And then Elevated, you said you was dropping a new one next week, right? You got a couple teams ready for that?
Yeah, I have a few teams ready for that. Me and Kofi, Widow, I'm gonna have my friend Weasel. He's gonna help. These guys help me with building. They make sure what I'm doing is not absolutely insane. Yeah, even I have those moments where even I can tilt. I tilt on the ladder quite a bit. I have to recover sometimes, but that's the thing with team building. You try to make something that everyone else will enjoy. If you're gonna release it out to everyone else, you want to test that team. You want to make sure that team is really up to everyone's expectations, and that's basically why I enjoy team building. Just having the idea that someone out there could be using my team. That's really a nice feeling to have. So,
facts. And Elevated, you can't see right now, but I'm linking everybody to your Smogon profile. Widow, we gonna be able to link people to your profile. You've been quiet all vid, bro. Any remarks you'd like to add?
Bro, I don't do anything on Smogon. Like literally, I'm really just making random teams, posting in the GC. I don't really posting on like walls, but I make some things.
That's the thing. He posts a lot in the group chat. Some you guys wouldn't know about this, but Kofi, me, Widow, and have a whole group chat just dedicated. Not even just dedicated. It's just like a bunch of random stuff. We talk about all these things that have to do with team building, and it's really a cool thing to have. So like we have all these sand teams, we have all these balance teams. It's really just a nice thing to have a community talk about mods. It's really a good thing.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you guys for running that initiative for sure. But yeah, Widow, you gotta drop some teams for us too, bro. You just gonna let Elevated collect all that Smogon clout and all the reacts and shit?
I mean, I do play lower tiers.
Oh, facts. What tiers do you play?
Gen 8, UU, RU, NU, all those stuff.
Facts,
oh yeah,
I love RU, but UU, bro, is tough, man. I feel like UU is fatter than fucking OU sometimes, bro. You have hella... Yeah, you have Tangrowth, Amoongus, fucking Chansey down there, Skarmory down there. Fortunately, you just gotta run like Groudon plus Magneton and you're kind of okay. But yeah, like, come on, bro. Like, Gen 8 UU is in a tough spot, but RU is kind of fire. I really fuck with NU as well. And guys, if you ever have like any ideas for like lower tier teams, like, it doesn't have to be just NatDex. Obviously, like the whole team building series, this could be for NatDex as well. But like at the same time, if you have like, come on, guys, like I'm building some bullshit yesterday, bro. Like yesterday, I messaged my guy DJ who's locked up in Korea right now, and I said, DJ, build me a Copper Raja team, but make sure there's a Kufant on that shit too, bro, because we had Lil Baby and we had Copper Raja. So that was fire. But like lower tiers and like, did you guys know Darmanitan gets Trick? Like I've been using Darm for like
Actually,
years
yeah,
now,
Kobe told us that.
and I didn't know that Darm
Nobody
got
knows
tricked.
that.
And now I just trick every Toxapex that comes in, and it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, you know what? I'll pick up a black sludge. It happens. And if I'm fortunate, I'll pick up a rocky helmet or something. But when you can trick a fucking Toxapex, or you can just flare blitz for free on everything, bro, like it's just mad fun. Building for lower tiers. You know, I have an NU team with like Sneasel on it, bro. That shit is fire. SD triple axle. I got this team called Pop Me
These
a
are
Perk and give me more
outdated.
stamina, bro, with the fucking Mudsdale on it and shit. Yo, building for lower tiers is hype, bro. We'll be sure to like drop some team pace or like, you know, have some team building videos for building for lower tiers too, Widow, if that's something you want to do. I don't know, Elevated, do build for lower tiers?
I was actually thinking of like eventually like reaching into national OU. Granted, like no one plays it, but
Yeah.
like might as well. This Mega Altario down there, that's shameful. Bring it back to up to OU. It needs to be in there. Also, Widow, don't you
Yeah.
play like some BDSP OU? Don't you play like
Oh nah, we don't fuck with
Purdue?
BDSP, bro. We don't fuck with that
No,
shit,
no,
bro. I
no.
need my heavy duty boots, bro. All my mons pulling up with Tims, bro. My Volcarona posted in New York with his Tims on, bro. That's it. No BDSP. No flying types taking rocks damage no more. We don't fuck with that. I'm not getting sniped by no lead Roserades no more, bro. We don't fuck with BDSP. Fuck that, Widow. If you send me BDSP team paste, that shit going straight in the trash, bro. I promise you. But you can send me RU, you send me UU. Actually, don't send me UU. That shit is too stally. Send me RU, send me NU. We'll feature it. We'll even
No,
have
actually,
videos
bro.
and stuff, bro. Yo, what's up?
I sent a replay on UU last time. Like, all down there is kind of ass. Like, you just lose to Conkeldor, like, easily.
Oh yeah,
Conquer's
I
leaving,
remember.
bro.
I remember they were talking about like how guts is a really powerful thing inside national. I said national decks inside U right now. Like it breaks every single solo team. Even offense teams can struggle with it. It's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Lock
because
punch
Conk
off.
had like 5 billion attack, that's why. But yeah, building for lower tiers is mad fucking fun, bro. I'll tell you that. But definitely, if you guys have any ideas for lower tiers, let me know. Otherwise though, I think that's pretty much it for the video. I'm just fucking cycling around through team pace, and I'm looking at all these teams that I want to steal. Look, Elevated was telling you about Rockslide Curum. I got a Rockslide Curum pace open from his last team dump, so be sure to check that out because we're not weak to Volcarona. We're not. Oh, bro, this
Wait.
See how the fucking Volcarona on it, bro. That's fine. I'll allow it. It's fine. You know, I have a team that I'm gonna post the RMT for soon. Let me pull that up real quick. Fucking shout out Mega Venusaur, bro. If you guys don't know about
Boof
Mega
pack.
Venusaur,
Boof pack.
Boof
Boof
pack
pack, let's
coming to
go.
another RMT. Coming to another RMT soon, bro. This is what I used to hit Mega Blaziken Rex. And I'll let you know, when you have a grass steel defensive core and you don't lose a single game to Mega Blaziken, that's how you know this team is the fucking truth. But anyways, I'll save this for RMT. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out the NatDex Team Bazaar. Check out Elevated's posts. I'm gonna link the NatDex Team Bazaar in the description. And I'll be sure to link his Smogon profile there as well. Widow, if you have anything to link, bro, please pass me that shit. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you at the next one.
Jeez.
Remember to subscribe or else bad.
Oh yeah, fuck, shit. Be sure to comment.
Are you edited?
No, I'll edit it. I don't know, bro. Fuck it. It's our first team building. Ain't nobody gonna give us problems with this. Be sure comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what mons you want us to build around. Tell us what tiers you want us to build around. I promise you, Elevated will go to sleep thinking about these teams and wake up the next morning with some heat for you. But yeah, make sure
I'll
comment,
wake up.
like, subscribe.
I wake up wanting to build a mammoth swan. I need to build that eventually.
Shout out Mammal Swine. Oh, and last but not least, shout out Noel. We're recording, and he asked me to give him a shout out, so I'll give him a shout out. And for the guys that asked to join the recording, my bad, guys, but
You also go.
we're on a roll here right now. But anyways, take care, y'all. We'll catch you at the next one. Peace.
Later. Yo, I don't know why I was so nervous for no reason, bro.
Really?
Yo, where the hell is my recorder? Okay. Stop recording.
Bro.